Hello, podcast listeners. We know podcasts are a great way to catch up on a program that you may have missed on KSJE, and it's provided as a free service of this radio station. But you know, KSJE is now listener-supported, and so while you enjoy this podcast, we hope that you'll also take some time to join KSJE. Become a member today. It's quite easy to do. Just go to our website at ksje.com/support and pick the level of support that best matches your budget. Thanks again for listening. Here's your podcast. 11 minutes past 8 o'clock. It is Monday morning, the 7th day of the 7th month, 2025. Good morning, everyone. I'm Scott Michlin. Thanks for tuning in to KSJE 90.9 FM over the airwaves here in San Juan County, New Mexico. In Durango, Colorado, we're broadcasting at 103.3 FM. And if you're listening to my voice anywhere else on the planet, you've gone to our website to do that, streaming all the time from ksje.com. Welcome also to our viewers who are joining us this morning. The video of this program is streaming out live to the KSJE Facebook page and also to our YouTube channel. So welcome aboard, everyone. So glad that you were with me this morning, because coming up, we are talking about one of the newest buildings in Farmington. It is the Latter-day Saints Temple that is about to open just across the street from us here, actually, at San Juan College in Farmington. We'll be talking about the open house that is coming up soon and some of the things that the public will be able to see once they're able to tour the building. That conversation begins in the next few moments right here on KSJE. Then later on this hour, I'll be checking in with my guest Lewis Campbell, talking technology. It's our Monday Reboot segment coming your way today at 8:50 a.m. on KSJE. Next hour, of course, our classical music program, Mick Hess takes us roving with the arts. That begins about an hour from now at 9:06 on KSJE. A reminder, you can also connect with us on our Instagram account, our Blue Sky account, our X account, in addition to Facebook and YouTube if you're a social media person, so don't forget about that. If you're a podcast listener, you can subscribe for free and listen to KSJE podcasts. They're available at places where you're already listening to podcasts, I would imagine, so check it out and maybe discover a new local program that you may have missed recently. Also new, the KSJE mobile app is now available. It's available in the App Store and Google Play. Check it out, and you can listen to KSJE on your mobile device, in addition to podcasts and getting news updates from us as well. Outside our studios here at San Juan College, it is a sunny Monday morning, 72 degrees at the moment. We're expecting lots of sunshine all week long, as a matter of fact, and hot weather as well. Today's high, 92 in Farmington. Clear skies tonight with a low of 65 degrees. Sunny and warmer tomorrow with a high of 93 on Tuesday, 95 for a high on Wednesday and Thursday, 92 Friday, and again, lower 90s for Saturday and Sunday. Overnight lows, as you can see, in the mid to lower 60s. I'll be back with my guests with more right after this on KSJE. KSJE is supported by San Juan Regional Medical Center. The caregivers of San Juan Regional Medical Center are committed to bettering the quality of life, health, and care of individuals, families, and our communities. Life is their sacred trust. Better is their mission. Here is their home. San Juan Regional Medical Center, improving the health of the Four Corners since 1910. I'm back in Studio A this morning with my guest, as I mentioned, to talk to us about the Latter-day Saints Temple Open House that is starting, in a little over a week from now. Please welcome to KSJE Studios with me the two co-chairs of the Open House Committee. Welcome to KSJE, George and Joanne Payne. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Good to have you both here to talk about this big event for the Farmington community, the church community, and more. Talk to me a little bit about what this open house means to Farmington. It's a chance for anybody to come and take a look at the temple inside as well, right?
That's correct. We're excited about having this open house. We've been preparing for it for months. We've got multiple volunteers that'll be there. It's open to the public. It's about 2 weeks long for the public, and we invite anyone who wants to come. Those dates are from the 17th of July through August 2nd. And so anyone during that time from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. who wants to come down and take a tour of the building, walk through the temple, and to see the majesty, frankly, of the building, the beauty of it. Would love to have you come and take a short tour.
Right. There's a lot that went into the construction of this building as well, as I have learned over the time that it's been being constructed just across the street here. But it has a lot of importance to the LDS community, to the Latter-day Saints community, and to the larger community as well. I think when temples are built in a location, that kind of puts them on the map too for certain other things as well. And so it's a big deal, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, for a lot of people, not just the Latter-day Saints community.
Absolutely. I mean, the timing of temples, as you know, the announcement was made in April of 2021.
Right.
The groundbreaking happened about a year later, and then since that time, they've been working on the building itself. It's brought a lot of construction folks into the area. The church tries to use as many local construction teams and agencies as they can. If there's some expertise that can't be found locally, they'll extend that reach out. For example, the stained glass in the building was done by someone here in the United States, but a lot of the stone for the building was brought in from foreign quarries and countries.
Right. And that, I guess, too, is because of the quality of some of these materials and things like that. It seems to be, I don't know if anyone's put a price tag on the construction or even if there is one, but it seems to me like a lot of fine quality materials go into the construction of a temple.
Absolutely. The church tries to seek out and find those quality materials. I don't know what a price tag would be on temples, but I would suspect as you walk through, you'll get a sense that the quality of the construction and the craftsmanship is just top notch.
Right. I was interested to learn that the stone, as you talked about, that is on the outside of the building, came from a special quarry. I think, if I remember correctly, maybe in Italy. I may be wrong about that, but because of its pure qualities, and they wanted to make sure that there was no rust in the stone that may then kind of streak over time, and so this quarry made sure that wouldn't happen, was the idea behind picking this particular place for this stone. Is that kind of in keeping
correct
with some of the conversations that are had around construction and materials, things like that?
Yep, absolutely correct. One of the things that's very interesting about that, to me at least, is that they send templates to the quarries, and those stones are pre-cut there to be placed in the temple, and they're numbered. So as they show up here on site, those stones were numbered, and then on the diagrams and construction of the temple, they knew exactly where those stones went.
Sure. Or if one arrived, God forbid, chipped or something, they could say, we need another 2145 stone, and they know exactly the size to cut and to send back over, I guess, too. That's important as well. And so I'm sure a lot of folks have been watching very carefully the construction and what's been going into it. And so for the folks who are not part of the faith, why is this open house so important for them to be able to maybe understand what the temple is used for in the Latter-day Saints religion and faith, and what it's not used for, I guess, is another question.
That's a great question. I think the church understands the importance of open houses. Primarily two purposes, I would say. The first is to explain and help people understand a little bit more about our beliefs. Open house will start with a short video, about 8 minutes, prior to walking through the actual building. But for me, I would say more importantly, another purpose is so that people can come and have a personal experience with their God. We recognize that this building is erected in His name, and we think that as people come with a sincere heart, that they'll have a feeling of the holiness that exists there. It's much like visiting a Catholic cathedral. The feeling that you receive as you walk through is that feeling that we know comes from God.
Got you. Very, very interesting. And so, Joanne, I want to ask you a little bit, too, about what you hope folks will take from their tour during this open house as well. Is it seeing some of these spaces and getting some of that reverence and understanding a bit more about the Latter-day Saints faith as well?
I think that what you'll hear most from members of our church when they attend a temple is that they feel peace there. And that's what we hope that the community will feel as well. And it's not that we can't feel peace in our homes when we read the scriptures or pray or in our Sunday meetings. It's just maybe a little higher level of peace is what I feel when I go there. And I think that's probably what members, I think most people have a friend or a coworker or know someone who's a member of the church.
Right.
And they've probably heard before from them that they feel peace when they enter the temple. And we hope that they'll come and be able to walk around, see the beauty, and feel the peace and the joy that we feel when we go there.
And this is only the second temple in the state of New Mexico. The first one was built in Albuquerque. That was one of the closer ones prior to Farmington's opening. The other one, I think, is in Moab, Utah. Is that the next closest temple for the church?
So Monticello.
Monticello, excuse me.
Yes, the Albuquerque temple was.
I'm thinking of mountain biking, and that's not the same at all.
Close. 2000 was when the temple was dedicated and erected in Albuquerque.
Thank you.
It's been about 25 years that we've been waiting, or more, for a temple in this area.
Right. And so, Joanne, to have this piece close by, I guess, is going to be, I think, quite a change for the church and for members of the church, not have to travel 2.5 hours, 3 hours to find and go to a temple.
Definitely. And when you leave the temple, you feel, enabled to be able to, deal with the difficulties that everyone has, because no one's life is perfect.
True. Very true.
You feel uplifted.
And the ceremonies that are held at the temple, help us understand that, because I think maybe some folks feel that it's a place for Sunday services and things like that, but that's, in my understanding, not the case. There's another building on the site for those types of things. This is more special.
So yeah, you'll notice just adjacent to the temple is what we would consider a chapel, would be more similar to what you would see on a weekly basis for Mass and those type of things. The temple is a building that is sacred for weddings. So those individuals of the church who desire to be wed are married there in the temple. We make covenants or promises with God in the temple. Those promises include being obedient and faithful. They include following His will in our life. They include uplifting and helping others, dedicating our time and talents, keeping ourselves morally clean and pure. And so as we enter the temple and make those promises or covenants with God, that's what gives us that power to withstand what Joanne was talking about, just the daily grind of life and the challenges that come our way. We can lean into those promises and covenants, and we believe that God will bless us and help us get through them.
And having those ceremonies, those things taking place in the temple is important, I think, to members of the church as well, because I think, at least as it's been explained to me, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but that is kind of, the temple is seen as maybe God's home on earth. Is that a correct statement?
That's absolutely correct. As you come to the temple, you'll notice on the front of the temple, it references that. It says it is the house of the Lord. And we truly believe that. We believe that His Spirit is there, that He is there, and that we can feel that as we enter.
And so when you take part in a wedding ceremony and things like that in front of your family and friends and God and others who are in the temple, that seems to have more significance maybe than just doing a wedding ceremony somewhere else.
We certainly hope so, right? We, just like anyone else, there's the challenges of life that can creep in and cause marriages to have challenges and difficulties. But we recognize, as you make that promise to your spouse in temples, and you include God in that promise, that it gives you a little bit of a increased motivation to work things out, to be kind, to be patient, to be loving. And as you work on those things through life, we know that our Heavenly Father will help us get through those things.
Very good. And there are more events and ceremonies that take place inside the temple than just weddings, correct?
Absolutely. What you'll notice when you come through the temple is that there's a font. There's actually a baptismal font. We believe, like the Bible speaks of, that all men and women must be baptized. And so we recognize in the world that there's not a lot of opportunity for some people for that to happen, and perhaps they pass away without having that opportunity. We believe, as one of the foundations of our faith, that we can go to the temples and take the names of those individuals in our families who have passed away, who may not have had the opportunity of baptism, and perform that ordinance for them in behalf of them, so that they might have a choice after this life to choose between whether they want to accept that or not.
Gotcha. Understood. And so with that, all temples do these ceremonies. That's what they are built for, and things like that. Some are larger than others, depending on the size of the community that they serve, I guess, is part of it as well. The one in Monticello, I would assume, is maybe a bit smaller or about the same size as this one being built.
Yeah, the size of temples varies. The Monticello temple is a little smaller. The Albuquerque temple is a little bigger. If you can imagine temples in Utah and Idaho and other places where there's a larger congregation of members of the church, those temples increase in size.
Sure. But there's a fairly significant congregation here, I guess, which is probably the reason why Farmington was chosen as a site for this latest and newest temple in the church.
That's true. Our current prophet, President Nelson, has made it his goal and the goal of the church to have temples as close to the membership as possible. And so you will see over the next 5 to 10 years multiple smaller temples being erected throughout the world that will service people who won't have to drive as far. And so that's his goal, is to give us that opportunity to have a temple that closer to you and give you that opportunity to visit more often.
I think I'm remembering when the Farmington temple was announced, it was one of numerous other temples that were being announced around the world, not just the country, at that time. I'm thinking maybe 18 to 20 at that time. Am I kind of in the ballpark?
Yep, that's about right. About every year they announce about anywhere between 15 and 20 temples that are in various stages. Right now, over 300 temples have been announced or are in operation throughout the world.
Gotcha. And I don't want to dwell on price or anything, but I do think that a lot of the funding for the temple comes from the congregation. Is that true?
True. Funding for all temples and all physical facilities, chapels and temples, come from the tithes of the people. We believe, as it states in the Bible, that we should pay 10% of our annual income to the church, and the church uses that money to build temples and churches and other physical facilities that we use.
Very good. And I guess the other question I have for you both is did you ever think that you would see a temple in Farmington, New Mexico?
I think
in your lifetime?
We always hoped.
Right.
They announce them in general conference, and you're always listening, and you hope to hear. But we were pleasantly surprised when we heard Farmington, New Mexico announced.
And so you both are on this open house committee, and so talk to me a little bit about that. You have been able to gather volunteers and kind of make plans for the open house. This is going to be open for everybody and anybody to come and take a look. The temple will be open certain hours. I believe it's Monday through Saturday, not on Sunday, for the open house during that 2-week period kind of leading up to it. And so what are you expecting? Are you expecting big crowds? Are you waiting to see? What do you think?
Well, we're hoping to have big crowds, and that's what we're expecting and what we have planned for. So many people are excited that they have volunteered. There'll be people helping with the parking, people there for first aid. We'll have translators there to be able to translate in Spanish and Navajo. So if you want to take a tour in one of those languages, we'll have someone there all day long.
Nice.
And those are all volunteers.
And the hours of the tours will be what
9 a.m. to 8 p.m.
9 to 8 p.m. That's a lot of hours.
It's a lot of hours.
And when these happen in other communities, I mean, it's a pretty steady stream of people that are coming through. Have you heard, or what are you planning for?
We anticipate anywhere between 30 and 40,000 people.
Over that 2 weeks.
If you can imagine that over 2 weeks, that's quite a task. We've partnered with the college for parking, and so
Sure.
those who need an overflow parking, those who have mobility issues, we'll park them close. And we're hopeful that we can hit those goals. We would say those who come during the week, it'll probably be less crowded. The tours may be a little bit more robust than you might see on a weekend. And so if at all possible, if you're local, you live here in the community, and you can come during the week, I think you'll have a wonderful experience during the week. The weekends will be a little bit more busier.
Sure.
Not that the experience will be diminished, it'll just be a little bit busier on the weekends.
Right. Understood. And again, the public does not have the chance to do this all the time. After this open house period, it will be only open to members of the church, and that's also by design, correct?
Correct. After this 2-week period, on August 17th, one of the members of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles, Elder Anderson, will be here in town, and he will dedicate the building. Once the building's dedicated, then members of the church are those who will enter and participate in those ceremonies that we talked about.
Got you. And the public does not have an opportunity to go into a temple unless there's some kind of renovation or future remodeling or something extensive, is my understanding at that point. Is that the idea?
That's exactly right.
Got you.
So this is our opportunity.
This is the chance,
We've got
right.
these 2 weeks to come and look as a public, and we hope that that people will take advantage of that.
Right, right. Very good. And from other temples, I mean, what do you hope folks will take away from this? You mentioned maybe some of the materials and just being in that peaceful place, and to kind of understand a bit more about what has gone into the construction of this very sacred building.
You know, for me personally, I hope that people will take away from this experience that God loves them, that He is their Father in heaven, and that He is involved in the details of their lives. And as they come to Him in humble prayer, that He will help them. And I think that people will feel that as they enter the temple, that He has a love for them. The bride's room in this temple is exquisite, where brides get ready for marriages. Maybe Joanne, what would you say about the bridegroom? What does that tell you about the love that God has for?
It just really is a beautiful place that reminds you that, you're a daughter of God, Heavenly Father who loves us as women.
Right. And so when you have a wedding at the temple, there is a different room for the groom and the bride to prepare and get ready for the ceremony. Is that kind of the idea?
That's correct.
And these areas, are they on the tour or not so much?
They will be on the tour if the volume allows us to do that.
I see.
That's why I would say come on the weekdays.
Come during the week?
The bride's room is kind of tucked back in the women's dressing room, and so to get in and out of it is a little tricky. We want to get as many people in there to see that room as we can.
Sure.
But if the quantity of individuals starts to increase and we have to make some adjustments, that will be one that may be not available on the weekend.
Gotcha. When you have a larger crowd. Makes sense. And certainly folks can come back, I suppose, during this open house period if they want to see it as many times as they like, correct?
Absolutely.
So, or bring friends or family or others if they go and see it and say, you're not going to believe what I saw, and come take a look.
The beautiful thing is, like most places we go and tour, we have to have an admission, and so you're inhibited to going back by the price. This is a free event, and so
Right.
come back as many times as you want. If there's something you think, well, what did that look like? Or I forgot to look at the artwork in that room. Come back. The artwork in the temple reflects the love of our Savior for us.
And there's a lot of other unique design elements of the Farmington temple that is unique to the area, I think, too. I think the pinon tree and nuts and things kind of play a role in some of the design work. Am I remembering that right as well?
You are. There's several different local aspects of the temple. The pinyon rose, which is the pinyon pine
Yes.
cone, is represented throughout. There's a linking design or linking chain that's represented. The globe mallow, which is a flower that grows on the side of the highways. It's that orange flower you see when you drive into Albuquerque, is represented in the stained glass. There's a few pinyon jays, birds that are represented in that stained glass as well. So you'll see throughout the temple remnants of and pieces of the culture of the four corners that have been woven into its design.
And that's by design, too, for every temple that's constructed, right? Tries to bring in certain elements from the surrounding cultures and communities. Is that the idea?
They do, yeah.
And the garden, too. I wanted to ask you a little bit about that, because even after the open house, the public will still be invited to the grounds and can certainly take in the garden and the flowers and those things all the time as well. And I believe one of the staff at the temple will be someone who takes care of the gardens almost on a full-time basis.
That is correct. They keep it beautiful and they update it.
I wish they'd share their secrets with the rest of us,
Me too.
but okay. But it's quite extensive, the flowers and the gardens around any temple, right? That's part of its design, I think, too.
It's part of its beauty and part of God's creations.
Right.
Even the outside brings a sense of peace and calm, and so even after the temple's dedicated, members of our community can come and walk the grounds, and there's multiple benches outside the temple that people can come and sit on and meditate. And so we would, even after the open house, invite those individuals who are seeking that relationship with God to come and to sit and to ponder.
And one of the design elements that I thought was so interesting as I was learning about the construction is the HVAC systems, which kind of seems a little silly that you'd be so interested in an HVAC system, but it's actually set almost underground and away from the main building as well, in order to keep it maybe quieter inside the temple. And that's another design element that I found very, very interesting, and it made a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, a lot of the mechanics of the building are actually off to the side. And if you look closely, you'll see a little fence around them, a little wall around them, but they try to maintain the quietness and the calm. In fact, Joanne and I had occasion yesterday to be in the temple, and we sat in one of the rooms for a time, and the quiet, still peace that we could feel is just incredible. I would just tell you, I can try to describe it all I want, but if you'll come and witness and feel that, you'll understand what I'm talking about.
Right, but as you said, a sense of peace, that just adds to it, I would think, not having a hum of a HVAC system in the background.
You don't hear any of that.
Yeah.
There's absolutely none of that. In fact, we were sitting close in a room close to College Boulevard, and we couldn't even hear any traffic.
Nice. Very good. The other note I wanted to make before we run out of time this morning is that the previous building that was there was also a Latter-day Saints building that was used for worship and things like that. And I don't know if everyone understands that as that building was being demolished, some of the elements inside that building, from the pews to the organ to the pianos and things like that, I think were also found homes in other places around the community. And I think that's another interesting part about this whole construction story, is that a lot of things weren't thrown away necessarily. They were found new homes for them.
We recognized, as they had chosen the site for the temple, that the building that was there was a great building. The necessity to move it was there, and so it needed to be demolished. And so we, as members of the Interfaith Council, reached out to other congregations and other churches throughout the community and donated pews, doors. There was a lift, an accessible lift that would lift people up to a stand or podium that was taken. And so all of those things, the doors were essentially opened to the public community, and multiple churches came and received some of those things. And I've actually gone into a few of those churches and seen some of those elements repurposed, and it just makes me feel good that we're able to work as a community through the Interfaith Council to make those things happen.
Right, I would think so, and so that's wonderful. Well, I know a lot of folks are looking forward to the open house. Again, the dates are coming up beginning on the 17th of July.
17th to the 2nd of August.
All right, and again, the hours are going to be 9 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Correct.
Monday through Saturday.
Come and see. I guess I would just end by saying, I promise, as you come seeking an experience with God and you humbly seek that you'll find it. You'll feel it there.
Very good. And get a better understanding of what this means for the church and for the community, it sounds like to me.
Yes.
Very good. Joanne and George Payne, thank you both for coming in this morning and speaking with me about the temple and the open house. We're looking forward to it. Thank you for being here.
You
Thank
bet.
you.
Thanks for the opportunity.
You're very welcome. My guest this morning with me here on KSJE. Did you enjoy that podcast? We hope that you did. And if you did, share it with your friends. And if you really want to keep podcasts like this coming, please support KSJE. You can do it easily online at ksje.com.